Every manager, every HR director, and every C-level executive in Europe has seen it. You spend months, sometimes years, planning a transformation. You hire the best consultant. You follow the gold standard frameworks. And then it happens, a friction, a noise in the system that everyone tells you to manage, overcome, or smooth out. In 90% of change management trainings, from ADKAR to Kotter, there is one specific element that is being systematically neglected. Worse than that, it's often intentionally silenced. We've been taught to view this element as a bug, a failure of leadership, or a psychological hurdle. But what if I told you that this problem is actually the most accurate strategic data your company owns? What if the very thing you are trying to fix is the only thing that can save your project for a multi-million euro disaster? Today we are going to talk about the forbidden data of change. I'm going to show you why your current certifications might be making you blind to reality, and how to finally bridge the gap between the boardroom and the floor. Most change management models are obsessed with control. Moving from point A to point B, state X to state Y, the situation is audited, the target operating model is signed off. Does that sound familiar? Of course, it's the classic waterfall methodology. We decide the destination in a vacuum, and then we treat the journey as a logistic problem. The peak of the paradox: we hire agile coaches to help people adopt a change that has decided in the most rigid, top-down way possible. We are trying to build an agile culture using tools designed from the industrial age. Why do we refuse to question the goal once the project has started? It's built into the classical management pillars. The decision bias. When you invested millions, hearing that the idea might be the wrong isn't an option, so we ignore the signals. The fear of instability. We've been taught that changing the goal midway is a lack of leadership. Guess what? In 2026, pivoting because the reality shifted is the definition of strategic agility. And finally, the psychologization of feedback. This is the big one. We use the grief curve to explain away resistance. We treat an expert's technical objection as an emotional phase. Look at that car. It's an execution machine. If someone resists, we check their desire or knowledge. We never check if the project itself is flawed. In Kotter, step 5 is removing obstacles. Translation: anyone not on board is an obstacle to be moved. And nudges: we don't ever talk to you. We just manipulate the environment so you follow the path we choose. Now, let's look at the alternative: lean change management. In this world, we don't have fixed plans. We have hypotheses. When that friction appears, we don't try to crush it. We treat it as a signal. We collect the most brutal, honest feedback. We turn that no into a how. The team says a tool is useless. We ask, what version would make you faster? And we run a micro test. If it works, we scale. If it doesn't, we pivot. If you want to be radical, look at sociocracy and consent. Here we use the resonant objection. An objection isn't a complaint. It's a professional warning. In this model, the leader must integrate the objection to improve the plan. The opponent becomes the person who secures the change. The result? A model that is robust because it has been stress tested by the people who actually do the work. So, why do agile companies still demand ADKAR or Kotter? Because the gap between management and the floor is widening. In a shaky economy, panic sets in. Leaders stop trusting the people who master the production. They see feedback as disloyalty. You might think I'm biased because I'm always with the product team. And you're right. But I've seen teams achieve miracles when the goal is smart and the management actually listens. A team that feels supported will always outperform a team that is just managed. My challenge to you is simple. Find the courage to trust. Stop hiding behind overpriced certification that treat your employees like children in a grief counseling session. Break the cliches. Build a relationship based on transparency and collective intelligence. Stop managing the change and start listening to what the change is trying to tell you. Have an excellent week. See you soon. And don't forget, boost the system.